Okay. Hello again. I'm going to talk about an initiative that is still in its infancy called Open Source Academics, or OSA. And it's something that came to mind early in my career while working at a university, but came to fruition and got a little bit more involved actually when I was talking with Mike. I was out in Boston and we were driving around a lot going to a conference, and then we were just brainstorming a lot of stuff, and then this started to take a little bit more more substance onto this initiative. And then I brought it up to my boss Yang, and now we're kind of to a point where I've started to build this out. And so I want to talk about what open source academics is. So OSA, like I said, stands for Open Source Academics, and it is a new 96Boards initiative. Okay, an open source org that's currently hosted on GitHub. You can find it today. It's not fully set up yet, but the goal is to create a digital file cabinet with multiple components that cater to creating a channel between industry and academics, the academic and academic worlds. So what we would like to do is set up a platform that facilitates the contribution, creation, and evolution of the educational experience, but with industry tech and in an open source world. Now, this is not an easy task, and I'll be talking to you why throughout the rest of this presentation, but especially when one person is doing this, it's not very easy to get everything in place, especially when it comes to wanting to cater to a user experience while simultaneously enjoying the open source version controlled systems, which a lot of people are not used to using. So how do I close this gap, and how do we plan on approaching this to make it a pleasant user experience at the same time, a platform that our industry, our 96Boards and Lenaro partners can use to communicate and collaborate at an academic level. So our goals, like I mentioned already, are to create open source consumption and contribution of educational training, workshop curriculum, and course materials. Now, my experience with university, I'm an electrical engineer, studied electrical engineer. This might differ from everyone else's, but I did not get the hands-on training that I really wish I would have gotten. Not only that, I wasn't really steered in the right direction. Now, when you're in your freshman year and your sophomore year and you're seeing all these people go out and get internships, and you're like, how do I get an internship? And then you show up at a job fair, and that's really like your only thing. It's like, what I want a job, but how do I do that? I go to a job fair, and I missed the job fair. I had a test during that job fair, or I didn't get a call, right? What does a freshman or a sophomore do in that case, and how do they bring themselves to a more visible level in industry? Well, open source is a great way to do that. And what again Open Source Academics wants to do is it wants to provide this platform and this place for students to go to try and get noticed by industry, and a place for industry to go to incentivize students, to give them stuff, right, and to grow with their technologies that they're creating. Now, primarily, I'd like this to focus around 96Boards, but we're not limiting it to 96Boards. We will start, because this is what we know best, with 96Boards technology, but I would really like to see this grow beyond that. I'd like to see it grow across STEM. I'd like to see physics and math and science and anything that you could think of in this open source ecosystem, allowing people to share and contribute and collaborate on a curriculum or training materials in this open source way. That is the current org. You can write that down if you like, or you can just remember OS Academics. So talking about a little bit more of the logistics, what are the components of open source academics, and how do we plan on growing this and working it a little better? There are 5 main components, and as you can see, I took a snapshot of what open source academics looks like: good, bad, and the ugly Clint Eastwood at his duel. But yeah, so this is what we plan on doing with our original 5 components. Now, I can't build all these out at the same time, but I do plan on building some of them out over time, and one that I'll be focusing on, which I'll mention at the end here, will be the first one to get released, hopefully, before the end of Q4 2018. So yeah, I'll summarize these, and then the one that I'll release is bounties, right? Spoiler alert. But home. So what does the home component do, or the home repository in this open source academics org serve? The home is just your landing page. This is the repository that basically summarizes, provides you with an executive summary. It gives you guidelines on how to contribute, instructions on how you can consume, or what we would expect from you. And then a roadmap that is right now severely out of date because I haven't had a chance to update it, but I do plan on keeping this updated and providing a more strict roadmap for coming year of 2019. So yeah, this is the homepage. From the homepage, you branch out and find all of your other pages. Maybe I can convince Kyle in the back corner to help me with this one day. We'll see. All right, thumbs up. All right, talking about training. Now, if you think about it, training, right? Like we're talking about open source academics. I know I started off talking about university level, right? But this org isn't only intended for university level curriculum, right? I know that there are a lot of our partners who have internal training. I know that within Lenaro, this was something that came up when we were brainstorming this whole idea with Mike, is that, how could there be a way to bring your training materials and put it all somewhere and then reuse it? So not only reuse it, but what if I gave a training seminar and then someone else wants to go give this same training seminar or this workshop? In a lot of ways, watching a recording or, telling someone to just go to this YouTube channel may be nice and it's fine, and I'm totally fine with going and watching a YouTube channel. But when you get to things like makerspaces or hobby labs or fab labs, you go there for the experience of getting a workshop done or actually getting hands-on training from someone. And so if you create a workshop or something that you want to showcase and actually be there for a certain amount of time and teach someone something, well then we want to host this material for you, and we want to facilitate the ability to recycle and reuse this material in a very comfortable way. So again, this is a platform that we're still trying to work on and how this will happen, but provide curriculum, reuse curriculum. If you find something wrong, because we're in open source, you can fix it, and then this builds and you create the win-win-win cycle. Workshops, right along the same line, but this one is going to be again more focused on hands-on workshops. So again, we're trying to create these templates, syllabus, presentations, assessments, and certificates. If you want to generate this curriculum, we're going to put a situation for you. We'll provide you with all the templates. You populate the templates in a standard, and then someone else can consume and contribute back to this standard. University level is when it gets a little more tricky. Now, at a university level, you have various certifications that you need, like IEEE, ACM certifications if you want to get your stuff verified, and then this changes depending on your region as well. But what we want to do is we want to provide you with the best chance, the best shot that you have at getting your stuff approved. Now, I came from a very, I want to call it, prestigious university. All right, but I've heard that not every university have the resources as others, and I know this. It's a fact. You go around the world and you're going to see that some universities are not as good as others. But that doesn't mean that the professors aren't passionate about teaching. And a lot of the professors really want to teach their students, but they don't have the resources to do so. And so this is something that, again, now this is something also that we're trying to tackle here, is allowing the professors that want to really teach this material the ability to do it. And so we're trying to create a way for, universities with this, strong digital, this strong file cabinet of resources. And this has already been proven. I know professors, they go out there and they say, I want to teach this integrated circuits class. I don't know that much about integrated circuits. I mean, I took it back in college. I'm a PhD and I could learn it real quickly. How do I get the quickest way to get my curriculum ready? So they go, and another teacher taught integrated circuits. So they just go grab that curriculum, and they take it, and then they modify it a little bit, and then they use it. And then they can teach this class. If you're a good teacher, you're passionate about what you're doing, you're teaching a good class, and you're able to get your students to learning. But not all teachers have that. Not all teachers have this file cabinet at their university. So we want to create this digital file cabinet, and we want to kind of standardize it a little bit, make it easy for people to push their curriculum and share it with the world. Now, with this comes visibility, and I'll say it right now. I want this to benefit our partners. I want this to benefit our 96Boards partners. So at a university level, you graduate, and I know that at least at my university, you graduate with the word Qualcomm at the tip of your tongue. It's no secret. Qualcomm is literally next door to my university. I have 2 buildings in the university named Qualcomm, Qualcomm Institute, and Irwin and Joan Jacobs Engineering building. And so, you graduate with the word Qualcomm at the tip of your tongue. And where do you want to work when you graduate? You want to work at Qualcomm. So it's very clear, even if you look at like economics and psychology, it's like, why do I buy Tide detergent? Why do I buy Dove soap? It's because my mom used Dove soap. My mom bought Tide detergent, so that's why I buy it. So when you're at university, these things are getting planted into your head. What do you work with? What do you work with when you graduate? What's the device that you want to use when you approach your boss with a project? What are you going to do as an engineer to develop for your company? And even though you're not working for that company, if you're working hands-on with the technology that our partners provide, then the likelihood of you graduating and pitching these devices and these technologies to your boss are higher. And so we want our next generation of students to graduate with the words of our partners coming out of their mouth, all right? Regardless of whether or not someone owns a building there. We want to open source this. Something that ties in really big with this is the bounties section of open source academics. I'm going to put this down for a second because I actually want to talk about this for a little bit. I have 8 more minutes. The bounties section is what you might say, like, just briefly summarize super quickly. It's a never-ending hackathon, okay? So companies put out a lot of money sponsoring hackathons and trying to get content from students, also trying to get their name visible to students. Now, again, at the beginning I said, I want to find a way to incentivize universities to work with partner technologies. So this bounty board, this bounty platform, this bounty system is going to allow our industry partners to post bounties for our university partners. What does this mean? This means that we will have a template, a platform that you as a partner can go to, and you can say, I want you to use this technology. I want you to deliver a project that does this function, that has this functionality. I want it delivered in this amount of time. And if you do this, I will give you this. And this item that you give them is the incentivization to do it, right? And this is up to the industry to decide this. And so with this initiative, eventually the goal is to create 2 committees, a committee of industry and a committee of academics. So universities that tell the industry what they think will incentivize their students, in return what the students, they think their industry, and then in turn what the industry will provide to incentivize them. So a negotiation that can get into place to where these students really do work hard, and it could even be a professor incentivization. It doesn't need to necessarily be a student incentivization, but we do want to make the platform for this. So the bounties will be divided into 3 different sections: academic, industry, and community, because we don't only want to say, okay, yeah, industry, you can go throw up a bounty and make the university pull this off, right? But we want to give this to professors too. What if a professor wants to put a bounty up for a student? So professors can post bounties. Or what if it's a community member that needs something done and might want to seek the help of a university on the list? All right, well, boom, put up your bounty, and this university can then consume and try to fulfill your bounty for whatever you're incentivizing them with. Now, this does not have to be 96Boards, right? I want to be very clear about that. This is a 96Boards initiative, and I will be pushing 96Boards. I want it to be very heavily geared towards 96Boards, but I won't enforce that completely. We will take all technologies and all curriculum. We really want to grow this up and make it as robust as possible. And then, yeah, so I summarize that. Some of the things I've heard from professors at universities, they've told me that one of their biggest goals is to get their students jobs. right? So a professor is held higher when all their students get employed. And one of the things that they really like, or that they would really like to see, is companies offering interviews with these as an incentivization. So again, back to when we were talking, you will go to the job fair, and if you fail there, you feel like you failed and you don't have another chance until the next job fair 6 months from now, right? Keep applying. But this is something that actually puts the power into the hands of the student. They can actually check out this bounty, and then they can fulfill it. If they do, you've also reduced ramp-up time. Now that's the end of OS Academics for now. I would suggest keeping an eye on the repository if you want to go over there and star it and follow it or something, or the org, I should say. I'd recommend that. Other than that, follow the 96Boards Twitter. We will be announcing this, my own personal Twitter. I have it right down there. Twitter and Instagram. Definitely, as we do updates, it will be broadcasted on those channels. Briefly running through now these other initiatives. I did talk about them in open hours, and I'm almost out of time anyways, but ones that I did not outline. Open hours, very, very, I love that. It's like my favorite part of the week. 96boards.org/open hours. The mezzanine community, Sahaj talked about already. Projectsorg and the web page. We talked about that as well, as the web page is evolving. The Projectsorg is also evolving, and we're finding ways to link the two with the website. Website and documentation repos, giving the power to the partner and to the community. Standardized libraries, I think Monty talked about that, but basically we now have a MRAA co-maintainer. So one of our standardized libraries for I/O, Monty, one of the 96Boards engineers, has made his way in as a co-maintainer, which is actually a very big thing for us. And then one thing that I didn't talk about in the open hours was women in STEM. So this was an initiative that we tried out this year in May, the entire month. We went in with overly ambitious goals, and we came out, I think, fairly good. I would say it was a lot of fun. The returns from this were basically, we had 17 interviews, written interviews. They're awesome, from all STEM fields. And then we had 6 live stream interviews, basically taking over open hours for that entire month. We did 6 live stream interviews with women in STEM from all different types of fields when it came to chemistry, computer science, engineering, semiconductor physics. You can go check this out at, do I have the link there? I don't. You can go check that out at 96boards.org/go/WISTEM. You're not going to do it, but I'll put it somewhere on the 96boards.org website. So I'm going to skip through some of this stuff because we already talked about all this, but I will show this picture here. We did talk about the Mezzanine Initiative. It works, like it's already working, right? These are products that came out of our Mezzanine Initiative. We put the templates up there, and people made stuff. So this bottom one is a mezzanine that does GPS. We tried crowdfunding it through Group Gets, but unfortunately, it didn't make it through the Group Gets. It didn't get funded. Makes sense, kind of. We didn't really do our due diligence in finding out what people wanted, and some of the boards already have GPS on it, right? So it wasn't really a board that people wanted. This one over here was created by a group of a company down in Brazil. That's an LTE mezzanine. I mean, now we have a ShearTech LTE mezzanine, so that's pretty cool. That maybe that ShearTech mezzanine, maybe it came from checking this out and seeing that people wanted it. I don't know. And then this is a prototyping mezzanine. Now this isn't all of them. There's more on there, so I would suggest checking out the repository and seeing it. Just giving you more visuals because I have one more minute. I'll scroll through this pretty quickly, but this is the Projectsorg that we were talking about in open hours. This isn't all of them. There's a lot more. Robert. It's supposed to be Carbon Robot. And so if you scroll down here, the idea though is that with this org, you go submit a project to the staging area. It gets reviewed and then approved, and then we create a repository for you and give you all rights. It's your repository. We don't own it anymore. It rests under the org because under the org, you have the ability to automate your rendering onto our website, right? So we're still working on how to figure this out a little better, but we do want to provide all the code. We want these projects to be open. We want them to be collaborative, and we want this to grow as much as we can. These are a bunch of projects on the project's website. Resources, website, just kind of showing that you can go fork it and work with us on the website and the repository. This is, oh, there's the Women in STEM page. And 96Boards.ai, which was a new initiative that was announced a couple connects ago. And we are working very hard to really make this make more sense to the community. We've heard of that. It is kind of fragmenting our website and our documentation, but Kyle is working very hard with us to help us kind of reduce this fragmentation. We've added new ways to link between the websites, and we will be moving forward with this very, very much so. These are all resources for the things I've talked about. So thank you very much. Hopefully you liked OSA, and hopefully you'll go check it out. That's it. And thank you.